Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV and your latest Liverpool News Update on Friday the 16th of August. I'm Dan Club, that's Steve Hall. We're going to run you through all the latest in the world of the Reds for the next half an hour. I hope you're well. Please get involved in the chat as you always do, day in, day out. You do not hold back, and please keep it coming because we will get involved. We will have some conversations in around what you guys are talking about as well. Any questions, anything you'd like to put to us within reason, please do so. Steve, how you doing, mate?
I am great. I'm having such a wonderful week, Dan. How are you?
Yeah, I am sound as always. I'm always good, you know this. Nothing to complain about in my life. And mainly because the Reds are back tomorrow. That's exciting.
It's boss, mate. I said it's the eve of Liverpool's season, and I've said this a few times all week, but like, if I ever get to this stage and I'm not excited, or I'm not enthusiastic, or I'm not buzzing for it, then I'm in the wrong job and I won't be doing it anymore. Exactly. So I can't wait for the season to get started tomorrow. I'm looking forward to just getting some. I know we had a taste of it in pre-season. I was lucky enough to be there. I was up close to the players and the manager and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, that was all for tomorrow and what it means for tomorrow. So I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it.
No, absolutely. Likewise. Yeah, I think we, as you say there, we'd have to call it a day if we weren't buzzing at this. But less than 24 hours away now from the Reds being back in action, proper competitive action anyway. And I'm with you. We're very lucky to do what we do and talk about Liverpool for a living. And this is why we do it, as you say, for exactly days and moments like this. So we're going to speak a lot about the press conference, actually. Ashley Fripp brings it up here. A few people talking about it as well. I want to unpick some of the quotes, some of the things he's spoken about. But before we do that, I want to get your general mood on him. I mean, I like the way he comes across personally. Have you been impressed up till now? We've seen him do a few of these now. This is his first proper one, if you like, in inverted commas, before an actual competitive game. Still liking what you're seeing from Arne?
Yeah, it's different, but it sounds, and he's very honest. He'll answer the questions. If he thinks it's a rubbish question, he's happy to shoot it down, and there'll be certain things he won't talk about. He was happy to talk about transfers. He did say he thinks it's obviously going to come up a lot during this, even though it's a pre-match press conference. He understood that. He completely shut down contract talk. He said they're private, which I completely understand. Like, there are things that will be going on behind the scenes. He was happy to talk about everything, so I thought he did really well. He looked so calm. Like, being the Liverpool manager isn't always easy, and we'll see how he goes. You know, Jürgen sometimes was in a good mood at a press conference, and then you'd quickly find the time when he's in a bad mood, and you'd be like, okay, you can just kind of tell. I think with Arne Slot, that will be more difficult. I think he will be less emotive than Jürgen. Like, I don't, you know, his highs won't be as high and his lows might not be as low. So there'll be positives and negatives that. But mate, I thought he spoke really well, and I agreed with what he said. And I found quite a lot of it interesting. I was enthused by some of it. Some things, again, maybe disagree with, but for the most part, I thought he spoke well.
Yeah, no, same. I continue to be impressed by him. He very much knows his own mind. He said that he's very calm, he's very controlled. He seems to think about what he's going to say, and he answers in a very measured manner, and I'm all for that. And you're right, we said since day one we might not get these soundbite lines that we remember from here until eternity like we got with Jurgen Klopp, but again, he's his own man, and he comes across in a very, very positive way.
I think you might get more straightforward answers.
Yes. Well, he's not shy about speaking about stuff. Even name-checking people today. And don't get me wrong, he was asked directly about Martin Zubimendi. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but he wasn't afraid to speak about it, and he said it's obvious he's not coming now, so quite open as well, which is shooting from the hip. Is not, I mean, Klopp did, but in a different way. He'd often sort of manoeuvre his way around questions and navigate them in a very clever managerial type way, whereas I think you're right, I think Arne Slot, maybe it's to do with him being a head coach and he doesn't see fit that he needs to navigate stuff, but he's not afraid to just say what he thinks.
No, and ironically say he's not as, again, I'll go back to it, he's not as emotive as Klopp, and we'll have to stop comparing him at some point, and I'm to this as well. But I do think he's actually quite charismatic. Like, he can hold a room, and he clearly has a laugh and a joke. You know, he was laughing at, there was a couple of times when he was laughing at a couple of questions about, you know, Nunez. He said, you know, it's his first season. He went, oh, so we have signed someone. So, you know, when he'd mishear what the guy said. So he has got that bit of humour to him as well. He's just, he feels a little bit like he's all business, and I don't mind that.
No, absolutely, very straightforward. I'm a fan of it. It's a little bit different than what I've become accustomed to the previous 9 years, whatever it was. But yeah, I think he seems like he knows what he wants and knows what he's doing. And on that note as well, obviously he was asked about transfers, I mentioned that a moment ago, directly about the Martin Zubimendi situation, made it clear that obviously we now know he won't be coming. He was very open about that. He suggested that Richard Hughes had done everything possible to try and get him through the door, and he was the one they had identified. He left the door open somewhat for potential more incomings between now, or start making incomings between now and the end of the window. He said Richard Hughes is still working behind the scenes. But he also made it abundantly clear that his first port of call, and I guess this was always going to be the case from his point of view, it's Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, Julian Ward, etc. behind the scenes that are going to do the transfer stuff. But from his perspective, his first job, his first task, if you like, was going to be to improve what he has at disposal, and he continues to hammer that message home. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd push back a little bit on the first part, because from what I got, I think he's heavily involved. He said, I'm talking to Richard Hughes all the time.
Yeah.
We're having these conversations, so I think he is involved.
But I think his priority is the squad.
Well, it has to be.
But he's very adamant in saying that. I feel like you're right. He's involved in the conversations around transfers. But again, I come back. His main focus is what have I got out there right now at the AXA, and I'll deal with that.
Exactly. You can't change the rest, can he? And his job is to get 3 points at Portman Road tomorrow. That is priority one. The top of Arne Slot's list today is get 3 points tomorrow, and then we'll work, and then we'll go from there. But I think he is involved. But I found it interesting, right? And let me clarify because I need to make sure, because I know what happens, right? Idiots on the internet clip things out and take things out of context. I believe Liverpool should be signing players this summer. I think they should. I think they need a midfielder. I think they need another forward. I would like them to sign another centre-back too, if they can. Whether that happens, we don't know. The manager said this with Richard Hughes. However, Arne Slot was also right. You can make Liverpool better on the training pitch as well. Yeah. You don't have to make signings to get better. It would help, and I hope they do. But he said, on the training pitch is where I can improve. And I was looking, only one team drew more Premier League games than Liverpool last year. Liverpool drew 10 Premier League games. Mm-hmm. Arne Slot's probably there thinking, if I can turn 5 of those draws into wins, we're up there. The 9-point gap to City is gone. And that's what he'll be thinking as well. Of course, he admitted he wanted signings. He talked about Zubimendi. We identified them, we wanted them. He said, no, we'll go to the next one, kind of thing. So I like the fact that he backs himself, because he said a couple of times, I've been left a really good squad. I'm not changing too much. They're a good team. We've got good players. But also on the training pitch is where I get, he mentioned energy. Me and my staff get the energy from doing that, and he's absolutely right. I can promise you can coach Liverpool better than they were coached last year. That isn't me saying Jürgen and Pep and Peter were all rubbish and things like that. But Liverpool conceded the first goal in like 20 odd games. You can that is partly a problem with tactics, injuries, all of the above. Yeah. So you can coach Liverpool to be better. That's just a fact, and that's what his job is as well. That's his job. If he walked in and said, "Listen, all I can do is make these lot worse," then he's the wrong man for the job. I was very, very enthused by the fact that he knows that an improvement. We all said it. We sat here, Dan, after every single post-game show going, why are teams getting so many chances? Why are we so open?
Too easy.
Why is Alisson having to make save after save after save? Why is this? Why is that? And some of that was down to players, but also some of that was down to the setup and things. So both can be true. There are different ways. Liverpool can, and again, I'm going to make sure this doesn't get misconstrued. I'm looking down the camera to all you people so you don't misconstrue me. Liverpool should sign players. I think they need to. I think they're short in a couple of areas. But they can also get better if they don't. If the manager coaches his players right and they get a bit more injury luck. Now, that second one's a challenge, granted, but also both things are true. There are different ways to skin a cat. And I think the fact that people are going into a season thinking, right, we haven't signed anyone, we're automatically going to be shite. I disagree with that. There are different ways to do it, and the manager himself said, the head coach rather himself has said, and I agree with him, Liverpool can be better. Liverpool weren't that good defensively last season. It's a fact. That can be taught by coaching.
No, absolutely agree with you. They can coexist. Absolutely can.
And
Liverpool, that's what it's all about. Liverpool can improve. We can get the fine margins, the extra percentages here and there, and thus on the back of it, get more points out of games. Without a shadow of a doubt, that's true. I guess the pushback on that would be, I'm reticent to say so far behind, because we weren't, but there's a big old gap between us, City and Arsenal, and they're not standing still. They're going to be having exactly the same conversations. Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta are going to try and improve them on the training pitch, whilst also adding the players. So Liverpool are coming from not such a way back, but from a way back. A lot of Liverpool fans looking at it going, well, we've got to do that, and we've also got to improve this squad, because this squad on paper has actually got weaker over the course of the summer.
Someone asked him that, didn't he?
Yeah, and he said no, but then I literally, as he was answering that, I was sat there thinking, Thiago barely kicked the ball, don't get me wrong, but he's gone.
Yeah.
Joel Matip's gone.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fabio Carvalho came and went.
Doesn't matter.
But we haven't we haven't gone anywhere really squad-wise. If Seth Van den Berg doesn't stick around, there's another one who's coming on.
I see your point from the start of the season, I agree, but then this time 12 months ago, we never knew how good Gerald Quansah was or Conor Bradley was.
But we did have a Joel Matip who was fit in 5
minutes. And like I say, in terms of number, and like Arne Slot said, well, maybe I've coached them better. Maybe the 6 weeks coaching he's done has helped bridge that gap. So both are true. I go back to it. I think Liverpool are short at number 6. I don't think at this moment in time that they're ready. And they've admitted that themselves because they tried to sign someone. Yep. Whether they do or they don't from now on, I don't know. But I also do believe this is a very good team and a very good squad that I think can compete. I really do think it can. I think as it stands right now, that it would be tough, but again, I'll go back to it. Arne Slot will have looked at that league table and said Liverpool lost 4 Premier League games and drew 10. Manchester City lost 3 and drew 7. He'll be thinking, my coaching and my team can bridge that gap. Whether he can, we'll find out. Yeah. But he's got so much confidence in himself. I think that's admirable.
I love the fact he backs himself. That he clearly trusts his own methods, trusts his own coaching, trusts his staff in the round as well, which is boss. And part of that staff, you touched on it a moment ago, somebody else mentioned refereeing decisions, and there are a myriad of factors that go into being a successful team, a successful season, and you will need a lot of them to go your way, and one of them is coaching, another one is refereeing decisions. Bit of luck along the way wouldn't go amiss as well, but another one which I think is a salient point to mention, it's not necessarily something that Slot picked up on in the presser. We did in a way, because he said Liverpool got a fully fit squad. Now, Ruben Peters, the early signs of Ruben Peters, the Liverpool head of performance, seem really, really positive, because how often, Steve, realistically, in the past decade, if you like, has Liverpool gone into any game with a fully fit squad? It feels rare to me. So that in itself is a good indication that the staff, what the methods are, the pre-season training, has all got us to a point now whereby day 1 or day -1, if you like, and everyone, seemingly, is available to Arne Slot. That's boss.
Yeah, touch wood, you're right. His record for injuries, Arne Slot and his team at Feyenoord was positive.
Yes.
And I think that will be one of the reasons that they were brought in as well. Again, I was lucky enough to be there in pre-season, and I was there for a lot of the sessions, like we saw, the warm-ups and the stuff like that. And yeah, Ruben Peters is heavily involved. So touch wood, it stays that way.
Yeah. It's not a done deal by any stretch of imagination, no. But again, you've touched on it. The quality within the squad everywhere is really good. And I'm front and centre of us saying that we need signings, by the way, because I'm adamant we need a big 2 or 3 signings for me. Top level defender, very, very good 6, and probably a backup to Salah on the right wing. I would say that would be my port of call. But the spine of the squad is still very, very good. When you look at Salah, Alexis McAllister, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker, like the core is boss. So just adding bits here and there in the round what we've got. Trent as well at right back, of course. So
he did say that, didn't he, as well? Sorry.
Go on.
He did say they are looking at us. They are working on it.
But we're not done, which is great.
He did say, he didn't go out and say, Richard Hughes' phone's off. He did say, we're working on stuff. Yeah, so we'll see what that comes of that, and who he thinks that is, and who what positions that is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You've touched upon his weaker or stronger point as well. I was going to bring that up, but I don't think there's any need to now. Luis Diaz is the next one we'll touch upon. He was asked directly about Luis Diaz and his future. There's been a lot of conversation in and around that. I think just as soon as yesterday, there was people talking about Barcelona potentially coming in. We spoke earlier on about how straight to the point he was. Like, he was as blunt as anything on Luis Diaz. He said, well, his future is with us. I mean, sound?
It couldn't have been more categorical, could it, really? No. If he tried, he literally, like that. He's, I think he also said along the lines of, in England, it looks like every single player's part of speculation, and he had a dig at that. I think it was James Pearce who asked that question, actually. And yeah, he categorically said, well, what's his future? His future with us. We're planning to have him, and then he bigged him up. So if that is true,
you're going to take him at his word, at face value.
Absolutely. So, fair enough. And
he clearly likes him.
Listen, I've always said on Diaz, if you're going to sell him, watch your upgrade. If you can't get an upgrade, he stays.
Well, the 2 options, I suppose, to play devil's advocate will be Kvaratskhelia and Anthony Gordon. Liverpool clearly have a strong admiration for Anthony Gordon. That's become very, very obvious this month, or this summer, rather. But again, is he gettable at the moment? Remains to be seen. Diaz, if the suitors aren't there, if the money isn't there for Diaz, I think we probably are best off keeping our lot and just cracking on as we are. I agree with you on that. Interestingly, he was asked also relatively directly on how he believes he can get the best out of Darwin Nunez. And his top line answer on this was he'd bring him into as many scoring opportunities as he can. And every individual benefits from team performance. And if we as a team can bring our attackers, not only him but the other ones, into dangerous positions, these players will score goals. He mentions Diogo Jota, who references how bossy he was in pre-season at that.
Yeah.
Is it as simple as that for Darwin Nunez? Just get him in front of the goal more?
No, because he was in front of goal a lot last season and he didn't kick the ball into the said goal enough times. So it's interesting again. I go back. We'll see how it all pans out. Jota's been around for a little bit more of the pre-season, so he's probably got the edge, hasn't he? But they're both going to be needed. Listen, Jota mentioned about what injury record. Well, it is his poor. So there'll be times when Darwin Nunez is the first choice number 9. You would think so. Yeah, again. It's good to see there's a coaching plan there and they're working on things with the players. But you are right, getting the best out of Darwin in year 3 is it's so high on Arne Slot's list of things that he can improve, because I think he's one of the players actually who there's way more to come from. A lot of Liverpool's players are brilliant, and it's hard to, make Virgil van Dijk a better defender, or Mo Salah a better winger, or Trent Alexander-Arnold better at everything Trent Alexander-Arnold does. Yeah. I think there is work you can do with Darwin Nunez to make him a better centre forward. It's clear, because he isn't the perfect role, he isn't the perfect number 9 yet. Yeah. And again, I go back to it, Arne Slot is the head coach, that's his job, and he's well aware of that, and I think that he is the type of player who I think you can mould and you can coach. How receptive if he is to that now that works, I don't know, but he is clearly one of the players I think who you can get a lot more out of. You go back to what I said before, Dan, about how you can improve Liverpool in different ways other than the transfer market. Getting Darwin Nunez better is absolutely one of those things that you could do. If Darwin Nunez improves by 20%, Liverpool might win 3 or 4 more Premier League games. The margins are so fine.
Yeah, and he's got a track record. We touched upon his track record of keeping players fit previously, and he's got a track record of improving similar style centre forwards to Darwin Nunez. Santiago Jimenez being the case in point of Feyenoord, of course. So let's hope he can work some magic on him, because for me, I know he's got his critics, Darwin, and listen, I can be amongst them at times because he can frustrate the life out of you.
Amongst them, yeah.
But yeah, I think he has all the raw attributes and all the qualities you'd want in a centre forward. Just finally from the presser, he was asked directly about Trent Alexander-Arnold's position and where he sees fit to him to play. What did you make of his response? He said basically he played right back all his career, but he did a little bit in midfield earlier on. We'll sort of make decisions as and when we see necessary, depending on who we're playing against a little bit. But for me, it all screamed out he's going to play right back.
Yeah, I think so. But that was one of the questions that he kind of batted back with a straight bat. He didn't the guy said, what's Trent's best position? And he replied by saying, well, he can play both. He didn't really give an answer.
Wasn't definitive anyway, no.
Which I think's fine. Why would you? I think Trent's going to be at right back, but there'll be times when Trent's in midfield as well. He did very much knock that one back with a straight bat. That was one that he didn't give us too many answers, because it's probably not in his benefit to do so.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay, we'll move on to some transfer stuff then while we're here, because, well, in fact, no, we'll touch on Cody Gakpo first. Speaking about positions, because I know you wanted to talk about this. He spoke to the club's official website yesterday, I think it was, and plain and simple said he wants to play left wing. He sees himself as a left winger. He's had a conversation with Arne Slot, who also sees him as a left winger. I guess he's just in direct competition with Luis Diaz, it looks like then.
I thought that part was the interesting bit when he revealed I've had a conversation with the head coach and he's told me he sees me as a left winger. I'm not sure what Jurgen Klopp saw Cody Gakpo as. He saw
everything is probably the problem.
He saw him as a centre midfielder at the start. This time last year, he was about to play Chelsea in centre mid. Yeah. He played centre forward. He played left wing. He played a bit of right wing as well. So you are right. It goes back to the Luis Diaz point as well, doesn't it? I'm getting the sense now where although rotation's really good and being versatile's good, and I think Gakpo mentioned, the manager also told me there'll be times he might need me elsewhere. Injuries happen, suspensions happen, etc. It looks like, the way I see it, I'd ask you the same question. He's got Diaz and Gakpo as his left wing options. He's got Nunez and Jota as a striker, and he's got Salah at the moment on the right hand side, which maybe suggests if Liverpool are looking for a forward, maybe someone who can play on the right rather than another player who can play on the left, perhaps. But I thought that was interesting, actually, that Arne Slot did say, didn't he? He was going to phone all the players and he's going to speak to them all in the summer and talk to them. He said he had that conversation with Trent. He was going to keep that private. Gakpo's kind of revealed his conversation for him, because there are a couple of versatile players in the Liverpool team who we're not quite sure what their roles are going to be. there's one clue already. The manager told Cody Gakpo, well, you're on the left-hand side of my front line. So now it's Cody Gakpo versus Luis Diaz, and that's an interesting battle, because those two are two very, very different players. They both are goal scorers. They're both very creative players, but they go about it in two very, very, very different ways. The similarities probably end there, really.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing, personally. I think having different types of attacker, if you do have two similar ones in terms of positionally, I think having different ways of going about it could actually work in our favour, because if something isn't working in game, we know Luis Diaz, his dribbling ability, his direct running, his ability to drag the ball up the pitch with him is probably his major strength, whereas with Gakpo, it feels to me it is more like cutting in and getting shots away and making things happen in a more sort of inverted inside position. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but for what it's worth, I think Gakpo deserves a good run, a good crack at being Liverpool's out and out left winger, because he was boss in the summer in the Euros, and he's kind of served the purpose. He's kind of done a job for the team, if you like, under Jurgen Klopp, doing a little bit of left wing, a little bit of centre forward, a little bit of centre mid, as you mentioned as well. So I think now it is time. What is he, 18 months into his Liverpool career? Let's see him in the position he was bought to play, or the position he got himself to move based on PSV and all that sort of stuff. And as I say, his form for Holland was boss all summer long.
It's interesting because you say he was the position he was bought for.
I think Klopp fancied him centre forward.
That's what I was saying.
Bobby Firmino 2.0. But what I meant by that is, to clarify that, is the fact that he got his move on form from the left wing at PSV. That's where he played. I remember speaking to Bolo Zenda at the time, literally coached him up until a point, and he said, he's a left winger. He can't play anywhere else. And then Klopp clearly, and maybe Pep Linders as well a little bit, because we know how much Pep Linders loved Bobby from our interview with him. I think he saw a little bit of Bobby-esqueness in him and thought, I can get you to do something similar. But as it turned out, Bobby's just a genius and he's irreplaceable.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% spot on. I think he's a left winger now as well. I agree. I think I'd go along with his sentiments and with Arne Slot's sentiments.
And the fact that he wants to do it is something in itself. It's testament to what he clearly feels like has been his undoing a little bit so far at Liverpool. The fact that he has been shifted left, right and centre.
I don't think he got over the fact that his pre-season was all about getting him to play number 10 and then it got knocked on the head after like 2 games.
It's not healthy, that though. And listen, nobody's going to sit here and criticise Jurgen Klopp because we absolutely adore the man. But there were definitely certain things along the way. He said himself at Harvey Elliott, didn't he? Completely off the topic here, but he should have played him more. So he made mistakes. You know what I mean?
No one's perfect.
Yeah,
no coach is perfect. Arne Slot won't be perfect either. Everyone
somebody might be, and it's Mo Salah. But on the topic of Mo Salah, there's been a report today coming out of Spain, and I don't know how much from the deal Real Sociedad anymore. But do you remember the recent report about Kubo? Apparently, Liverpool are interested in Kubo once again. According to Pavan Massimo, Spanish journalist, Liverpool might not be done with dealing with Real Sociedad as they've reignited their interest in forward Takifusa Kubo. The Merseyside team, that's us by the way, are ready to make a considerable financial effort to bring the winger to Anfield. So speak about him in general if you like, but I guess more importantly, we've just touched upon it a moment ago, that is the one hole in this squad from an attacking department. Anyway, we know about the 6, obviously, the defender, obviously. But from a frontline point of view, getting the backup to Salah, somebody take a bit of the burden off him, that's where we're lacking.
And the pace as well. That's something I do think. I think me and Paul had a conversation about this yesterday. Liverpool probably lack a little bit of pace up front. Nunez has got it. The rest aren't. None of them is really slow, but I wouldn't say anyone's like.
Diaz has lost a bit, hasn't he?
No one's rapid, and Kubo is. I don't know, man. Are we going to go back to Sociedad and try and deal with them again after? I mean, maybe, I don't know, because Liverpool blaming Sociedad, Liverpool blaming Martin Zubimendi, I don't know, but it does feel like, I don't know, that feels like an interesting dynamic to add into it. I completely agree, though. I think Liverpool, if they're going to sign a forward, and I think they should, it has to be someone who can play on the right-hand side. I would be looking at someone who plays on the right, is left-footed, and has got pace.
Yeah, well, that's...
And then Kubo meets that particular 3 skill sets that I'm looking for, so he would be a good option again. Whether Liverpool are going to go back to Sociedad after the mess that we happened last week, I don't know, if truth be told. But yeah, he would be a good potentially a good option.
Yeah, I think he ticks a lot of those boxes. You say the criteria, it all pretty much stands up. And I think the main issue is, obviously, we spoke about Salah and the fact that he won't be able to do 90 minutes 2-3 times a week when Champions League kicks in and all that sort of stuff. But the drop off, if you like, from Salah at the moment, and who knows what happens with these two in terms of the next couple of weeks. But Kay Gordon, 19, 20 years old, just off the back of a long time out injured, and Ben Doak, 18 years old, and very, 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 very raw. He has that pace you're talking about, but he lacks a lot of the other stuff. And he's not left-footed either. So.
And he's been sent to the 21s. I think that's telling. I think he got sent to train with the 21s.
There was mixed reports on that, though. You know, there's seen some people saying that him, maybe Kay Gordon, James McConnell, and one other had been, but then somebody else, Lewis Bauer, I think, who covers the academy stuff in detail, said that they all trained with the first team as well. So I'm not sure, but whatever. I think it looks as, and also even if Doak and Gordon were to stick around, I like both players individually, but again, Mo Salah to those two, you need that middle ground. You need, and it's similar with the sixth position as well. You need that 24, 25-year-old. Okay, let's do a little bit on Rayan Aït-Nouri, because David Lynch, friend of ours, friend of the show, has been speaking about him all summer long, it feels like. But he's also come out yesterday and said Liverpool could still get a deal done for Wolves star Rayan Aït-Nouri. Left back, Steve, I know you're a fan of the player. My biggest issue here is we are 15 odd days away from the deadline, if you like, and there's still time to do this deal, of course there is. But getting another left back feels like the ninth thing on the list Liverpool should be doing. Contracts, different positions, left back. I just don't see it personally.
Yeah, you can't goalkeeper as well, can you? Because it feels like Liverpool, we all think they need a forward and a midfielder, and they might sign a goalie and a left back, which is, again, if this happens, and I don't know how far, and I think we'd all pretty much agree that Liverpool have got some type of liking for Ait-Nouri. That's been widely reported. This is another one where it might be something looking ahead towards the future. You know, if Liverpool are going to sign Mamardashvili with an eye on maybe being Alisson's replacement, is Rayan Aït-Nouri Andy Robertson's long-term replacement? Because I think we'd all agree Kostas Tsimikas probably isn't. He's of an age and that kind of stuff. So maybe this is another one where they're actually looking further towards the future for why you're doing this kind of thing. Getting replacements in before you lose the player in that role, and that's what good teams should do. Now, they haven't done that at number 6 probably, and well, they definitely haven't, and that's why we're all having these panics. But I like the player. I think he's a good player. I think he always looks better as a wing back than a left back, if truth be told, and that's something that you'd have to take into consideration. But I wouldn't be shocked if he is a long-term target. I think he probably is, and it's whether they want to push the button now, whether Wolves are willing to sell him now. You know, they've already sold one big player this season already. You know what?
Two, I'd argue. Kilman and Neto.
Yeah, you're right, Kilman. I was thinking Neto, but you are right, and Kilman as well. You know, two really good players. I know they're investing elsewhere, but for them to lose Ait-Nouri as well would be a big blow. So I don't know if that would happen now, but I think, I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that he's on Liverpool's list of targets, because I think we've all kind of accepted that is probably the case. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And again, I come back to, I'm not down on the idea of signing Ait-Nouri. I just think there's more pressing matters that need to be dealt with first. And if we were to do let Kostas Tsimikas go elsewhere, even in the opposite direction, that would make a little bit of sense for me. And we spend a little bit of money to get Ait-Nouri, and I think that's a good upgrade. And I think you're right. I think that long-term replacement, it could well be him. He has a lot of what it takes to be Liverpool's left back, it feels like. But again, I come back to it. If we were to do that bit of business and Mamardashvili and, I don't know, something else somewhere else in the squad, and not fix the glaring hole that is the number 6 position, I'd be left a little bit, not disillusioned, but a little bit confused by it all personally.
And you got to remember, it's like, at some point, as much as we love Andy Robbo, you do have to start looking you will have to start looking to the future.
And I think that's now.
And I think a good club does this. These, like Mamardashvili and the likes of Ait-Nouri, they are good signings that good clubs make. You are, again, I go back to, I used the phrase 3 or 4 times, you are just planning for the future, you're getting ready for your big guns to go. Liverpool have got some areas in the squad now where they haven't done that. Again, Fabinho left and there was no real option there that Liverpool were keen on. Maybe Stefan Bajcetic aside, who obviously has his injury issues. There's no one, if this is Mo Salah in his final year of his contract, if he goes, there's nobody. There is you haven't quite got that right. Ben Doakes probably was not there yet. Potentially a centre-back as well, depending on what happens there, you could say.
Definitely.
So these are, again, the good move, but I see your point. When you are not desperate is the right word, but
I think we are.
When they're not, well, I don't think Liverpool think they're desperate. I think we as fans are probably a bit more desperate.
Yeah.
If you are staring at what you think are immediate issues and you start planning other things, you know, it's like the roof's leaking, but I'm getting the new windows. The windows probably need replacing, but actually the roof and the leak might be a more pressing matter. I don't think Liverpool think the roof's leaking though. I think they're a little bit more comfortable than we perhaps are. That's the sense I get, because if they were, desperate, I suppose, there would be like another Endo type sign, and there would be that stopgap. You think we just get him, and we'll the Ben Davies, Ozan Kabak, shit, we are fucked. Yeah, we need to go and do something. I don't get the sense they're doing that. But you are right. If we end this transfer window having brought in a goalkeeper and a left back, there'll be a lot of questions being asked, and rightly so. Like, okay, I get it, but
what about all that? Staring you in the face a little bit. No, absolutely, yeah. And again, it's almost contradictory because it is very sensible. The Mamardashvili thing and potentially the Ait-Nouri thing are very sensible because succession plan-wise and long-term plan-wise, boss, happy days, made up with that. But if you don't address what is seemingly the glaring issues in the squad right now for this season, fans will rightly, and myself will be rightly left thinking, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Somebody a moment ago asked about Jayden Danns. He has, I don't want to use the term re-injured himself, but he's had a setback in his injury rehabilitation and will be out for about 2 months, I think I'm right in saying, which is put pay to any loan move that he might have been having. So big shame for him, of course.
That was a big sneeze I did there. I was going to say, when we said before about a fully fit squad, and Arne Slot said, yeah, I've got a fully fit squad. Maybe that suggests he's thinking Danns isn't part of the... Right away.
He just hasn't seen him yet, has he?
Yeah, but I wonder if he is part of the youngest... He was going to be on loan, maybe he's part of the youngest one, because I'm guessing Arne Slot sees his senior options in terms of forwards as those 5, with a bit of Elliott, Szoboszlai, and Yanni, maybe, we saw playing the front 3. Maybe it's that way. So when he said, I've got a fully fit squad, I'm guessing that maybe he wasn't including Jayden, because you're right, Jayden's got the back issue. That's why, if he wasn't injured, he wouldn't be here now. He'd be on loan at Plymouth, more than likely. So you are right. Maybe Arne's, it's either slipped his mind, which can happen, or he's maybe thinking of Jayden more as a younger player in the 21s, 23s.
If it has slipped his mind, he'd almost be within his rights to allow it to slip his mind, because I come back to it, a prodigious young talent, no two ways about that. We've seen it, at academy level and first team level last season, but again, he just hasn't been involved at all this summer. So Arne Slot literally physically hasn't seen him kick a ball in front of him. So it wouldn't be a shock if he just forgot about him for a moment there. Tad, I think that's everything. Are you happy? Are we good?
Mate, honestly, I'm great. I can't wait for the season. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. Again, like I said before, if you're not excited now, you never will be. The Reds are back with a new manager, a new style of play. We're going to learn a lot. It's the first time in 8 odd seasons where we're going to see a new face in the dugout with fresh ideas and things changing. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. But we're on watch-along duty from 11:10 in the UK time.
New look watch-along as well, yeah. Tell people what's going on.
I will tell everyone what's going on. So here in the new studio, actually I say new studio, it'll be there. You can't see it, but it's right there. The new watch-along set. Anyone who tuned in for the last Parmas or the Sevilla games will have seen, had a brief look at it. But we've taken all your guys' feedback on board when it comes to watch-along, rather than doing shorter streams. We're going to be widgets for the entire match day. So from 11:10 tomorrow, UK time, work it out for yourselves. 11:10, right the way through to an hour after kick-off, one continuous live stream. It'll be me, it'll be Dan, and it'll be Errol at different points throughout the show, bringing you from reacting to the team news, bringing you the game itself, right the way through to all the post-match stuff as well. So yeah, we've listened to the feedback where people asked us, why do we keep doing stop and start? Fair enough. The reason was, why... that's just how it always was, and that was the routine we got into. It was what it was.
I know no different.
Yeah, exactly. I say it just was what we did. But the comment was it was a fair one. So we're going to be with you right the way step. So if you log onto our YouTube channel at 11:10 on Saturday morning UK time, you can be on the channel all the way through, right through the game, right through to the end, right through all the post-match stuff. There'll be a couple of chances within there, of course, where there'll be 2 dedicated segments where fans, you guys get to have your say. That'll be just after the team news show and straight after the game as well. So we're trying to be a bit more interactive, a bit more... I don't know if open's the right word, like forward facing. We're going to be there more basically and try and get you guys more involved in the shows rather than you just listening to us all the whole time. I want you guys to be more involved as well. So that's what's happening. So if you've never watched the watch along before, just come and give us a go. 11:10 tomorrow, come and join it. It's class. And yeah, again, press mute on the telly, listen to us. We'll commentate the game for you, and we'll do so in a more, definitely in a more biased manner. Unless you're a Man United fan, because you can't get more biased than Gary Neville on Man United games. But if you want biased Liverpool commentary, then yeah, we've got you covered on the watch along. Looking forward to you.
Yeah, can't wait. Absolutely cannot wait now. Chomping at the bit. And all of that good stuff that Steve just said. We will see you tomorrow in that case. We have a coffee bright and early. Look forward to it. Thanks for getting involved as ever. See you soon. Enjoy the rest of your Friday.